Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Muskan, one of the moderator of iCode Group. As you know, webinar शुरू करने से पहले iCode Group का brief सा introduction. iCode Group का initiative सिलिकॉन वैली के टॉप इंजीनियर्स ने लिया है. iCode Group का मोटो है शेयर लर्न एंड ग्रो. iCode Group में हम अपनी नॉलेज दूसरों के साथ शेयर करते हैं, दूसरों की नॉलेज से लर्न करते हैं और एज अ कम्युनिटी वी ग्रो टुगेदर. सो आईकोड गुरु का मिशन क्या है? आईकोड गुरु का मिशन है एम्प्लॉयबिलिटी को इंक्रीज करना, हाईटेक स्किल्स जो मार्केट में इन डिमांड है स्टूडेंट के साथ उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करवाना और इंटरनेशनल मेंटर्स के साथ मीटअप करवाना हैकाथॉन्स वेबिनार्स की शक्ल में. आईकोड गुरु का फोकस क्या है और आईकोड गुरु काम कैसे करता है? आईकोड ग्रुप पे पर डे 20+ सेशंस जो हैं वो रन किए जाते हैं. एक वीकली वेबिनार जिसमें हम अभी सारे मौजूद हैं और 2 वीकली वर्कशॉप सैटरडे संडे कंडक्ट करवाए जाते हैं स्टूडेंट्स की लर्निंग के लिए. पाइथन फॉर एब्सोल्यूट बिगनर्स के मल्टीपल सेशंस कोर्सेज रन करवाए जाते हैं डिफरेंट टाइम स्लॉट्स पे ताकि स्टूडेंट्स अपनी अवेलेबिलिटी के मुताबिक हमें ज्वाइन कर सकें. आईकोड ग्रुप पे 100% फ्री होते हैं तमाम कोर्सेज जिसमें आयर्स GRE ड्यूलिंगो और के कोर्सेज जो हैं वो 100% फ्री हैं. और आईकोड ग्रुप पे इस साल ट्रैक 2 जो है वो किया जा रहा है डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटी की कोलेबोरेशन से, जिसमें आर्ट्स के मल्टीपल सेशंस 24 आवर्स रन किए जाएंगे. GSA के और लीड कोड के मल्टीपल सेशंस रन किए जा रहे हैं फॉर कुछ बूट कैंप्स जो कि फैंग रिलेटेड कंपनीज जो हैं हमारी उनकी प्रेप के लिए. मशीन लर्निंग, डीप लर्निंग, डेटा एनालिटिक्स और डेटा साइंस के कोर्सेज जो हैं एडवांस कोर्सेज वो भी आईकोड ग्रुप पे कंडक्ट करवाए जाते हैं. अगर हमारी लाइव क्लास या लाइव सेशन जो है वो मिस हो जाता है तो हम आईकोड ग्रुप के FB पेज से प्रीवियस रिकॉर्डेड सेशन जो है वो वॉच कर सकते हैं. ये कुछ आईकोड गुरु की रिसेंट अचीवमेंट्स हैं जिसमें से कुछ मेन से अचीवमेंट्स हैं जो यहाँ पे डिस्प्ले है. तो 700+ इंटरनेशनल अवार्ड्स हैं आईकोड गुरु के हैकाथॉन्स और कोडिंग कंपटीशंस में. इसके अलावा आईकोड गुरु हेल्प आउट करता है अपने स्टूडेंट्स को फुली फंडेड ग्रेजुएट एडमिशन सिक्योर करने में ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड, स्पेशली USA. आईकोड गुरु लोकल और इंटरनेशनल इंटर्नशिप्स और जॉब्स में भी अपने स्टूडेंट्स को हेल्प आउट करता है क्योंकि जिन स्ट्रेटेजीज एंड ट्रिक्स पे आईकोड गुरु हेल्प कर रहा होता है, काम कर रहा होता है अपने स्टूडेंट्स के साथ, तो डेफिनेटली जो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके चांसेस जो हैं वो इंक्रीज हो जाते हैं. हम सभी को पता है C50X पजल डे जो कि हार्वर्ड का एक नामी ग्रामी पजल डे है जिसमें 9 पजल्स होते हैं. और अगर बात की जाए सन 2024 की तो आईकोड गुरु की 38 टीम्स ने 9x9 पजल सॉल्व करके वर्ल्ड रैंक जो है वो सेकंड रैंक अचीव किया था आफ्टर अमेरिका. और अगर 2025 की बात की जाए तो 259 टीम्स ने पार्टिसिपेट किया, ना कि सिर्फ पार्टिसिपेट किया बल्कि विन किया 9x9 पजल्स को क्रैक करके और हार्वर्ड में अपनी नाम बनाया. देन पाकिस्तान का जो रैंक है इसमें वो टॉप पर था बिफोर अमेरिका 2025 में. देन अनदर पॉपुलर इवेंट कोरियन प्लेस जिसे स्टैनफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी ऑर्गेनाइज करवाती है. और पिछले साल इसमें 72 मेंटर्स आईकोड गुरु की तरफ से सिलेक्ट हुए थे. और अगर 2025 की बात की जाए तो 240+ मेंटर्स या सेक्शन लीडर्स या फिर हम कह सकते हैं कि टीचिंग असिस्टेंट जो हैं वो इस इवेंट में सिलेक्ट हुए, जो कि एक बड़ी अचीवमेंट है आईकोड गुरु की प्लस पाकिस्तान की. देन MIT इमर्जिंग टैलेंट प्रोग्राम स्कॉलरशिप जिसमें 8,000 पार्टिसिपेंट ने अप्लाई किया, 320 ग्लोबली सिलेक्शन हुई. अगेन 3 आईकोडर्स यानी कि आईकोड गुरु के स्टूडेंट्स जो हैं वो विन कर गए इस स्कॉलरशिप को. देन 301 स्टूडेंट्स जो कि आईकोड गुरु की तरफ से थे जिन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया गूगल कोड जैम में 2023 में, जो कि ये हाईलाइटेड न्यूज़ है सन 2023 की. और आईकोड गुरु के 3 स्टूडेंट्स सिलेक्ट हुए इतिहाद एविएशन अबू धाबी में इंटरनेशनल हैकाथॉन विन करने के नतीजे में. फॉल 2024 फुली फंडेड स्कॉलरशिप्स इन USA. आईकोड गुरु के ये कुछ स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो पाकिस्तान की इन यूनिवर्सिटी से ताल्लुक़ रखते हैं जिन्होंने US की 19 यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में फुली फंडेड स्कॉलरशिप ग्रेप की MS और PhD की. तो जिनमें जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ शामिल हैं मैं उनके नेम्स यहाँ पे मेंशन कर देती हूँ. यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर फैसलाबाद, कायद आज़म यूनिवर्सिटी, इंटरनेशनल इस्लामिक यूनिवर्सिटी, मोहम्मद नवाज शरीफ यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मुल्तान, UET लाहौर, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ गुजरात, बहरिया यूनिवर्सिटी और GCUF गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी फैसलाबाद के स्टूडेंट शामिल हैं जिन्होंने US की 19 यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में फुली फंडेड एडमिशन्स अपने ग्रेजुएट एडमिशन सिक्योर किए हैं. और अगर बात की जाए इनकी प्रोफाइल पे तो प्रोफाइल कुछ इस तरह से थी कि सीजीपीए रेंज 3.1 टू 3.8 के दरमियान, आर्ट्स रेंज 6.5 टू 7.5। इनकी कोई पब्लिकेशंस नहीं थी, इनको कोई जीआरई नहीं देना पड़ा। स्टडी गैप जो कि काफ़ी ज़्यादा है, 1 to 15 ईयर्स तक का। देन 100% फी वेवर जो है उन्हें रिसीव हुआ एप्लीकेशन प्रोसीजर के लिए। स्कॉलरशिप स्टाइपेंड $1100 to $3000 पर मंथ। और बैंक स्टेटमेंट की भी कोई ज़रूरत नहीं थी, उन्होंने कोई बैंक स्टेटमेंट शो नहीं करवाई किसी भी स्टूडेंट ने आई कोड गुरु के, जिन्होंने फुली फंडेड स्कॉलरशिप जो है वो ग्रैब की है यूएस की यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में। सो ये एक विजुअलाइजेशन है जिसमें हम ये देख रहे हैं कि ईयर बाय ईयर आईकोट ग्रुप के जो मेंबर्स हैं वो किस तरह से इंक्रीज हो रहे हैं। अगर बात की जाए 2021 की, तो 5000 मेंबर्स से शुरू होता है डेटा, और 2025 में आईकोट ग्रुप के इस वक्त 35+ के मेंबर्स हैं प्लेटफॉर्म पे। और विद दिस इंटरनेशनल अचीवमेंट्स, सो ये एक डमी डेटा है, और इसमें हम इजीली देख रहे हैं कि आईकोट ग्रुप की ग्रोथ जो है वो किस तरह से हो रही है। देन अनदर विजुअलाइजेशन एंड पाई डायग्राम, जिसमें हम ये देख सकते हैं कि फुली फंडेड स्कॉलरशिप जिन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ने सिक्योर की है पाकिस्तान के स्टूडेंट्स ने, वो कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ये हैं कि सन 2022 में कायदे आज़म, कायदे अवाम, वर्चुअल यूनिवर्सिटी, फास्ट यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट शामिल थे। देन 2023 में यूटी टेक्सला, जीसीयूएफ के स्टूडेंट शामिल हैं। और 2024 में जो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ शामिल हैं वो हम प्रीवियस बार चार्ट और पोस्टर पे देख चुके हैं, जिनमें पाकिस्तान की ये यूनिवर्सिटीज शामिल हैं जिन्होंने 2024 में यूएस की 19 यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में फुली फंडेड एडमिशन सिक्योर किए हैं। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग दिस सेशन और वेबिनार। आईकोड गुरु पे रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए iCode.guru/join को गो थ्रू कर सकते हैं, और आईकोड के ऑफिशियल एफए पेज को भी आप विजिट कर सकते हैं। सो यस, आज का जो वेबिनार टाइटल है आर्किटेक्टिंग द फ्यूचर इन्वॉल्विंग ट्रेडिशनल एप्स यूजिंग एआई, और जो हमारे गेस्ट स्पीकर हैं सर साद खान हैं। और वेबिनार शुरू करने से पहले मैं शॉर्ट सा एक इंट्रोडक्शन जो है वो करवाना चाहूँगी सर का, कि सर साद खान की जो एजुकेशन है, सर का जो पीएस है वो डबल ई है, इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग फ्रॉम जॉर्जिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी। और सर की जो जर्नी है वो शुरू होती है सन 2010 से एज अ डेटा साइंटिस्ट इंटर्न एट जीई। देन सर ने क्वालिटी अश्योरेंस इंटर्न के तौर पर काम किया वीवो टेक में। देन ही जॉइंड VMware as technical software consultant to senior customer success manager. He served as a solutions engineer at Unstoppable Domains, और सर ने आईसेरा में भी काम किया है, सर्व किया है एज अ कस्टमर सक्सेस मैनेजर। Currently, sir is working at Super Annotate as a customer success manager. So please join me to welcoming Sir Saad Khan. और सर एक मिनट, लेट मी शेयर ऑफ माई स्लाइड्स। सो सर थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम, कि आपने हमें टाइम दिया, और हम बहुत एक्साइटेड हैं इस वेबिनार के लिए। सो यस सर, ओवर टू यू एंड थैंक यू वंस अगेन।
थैंक यू। अस्सलाम वालेकुम सब लोग। एक सेकंड,
वालेकुम
मैं
सलाम
अपनी
सर।
अपनी स्क्रीन शेयर करता हूँ। एक सेकंड। एंड देन कंफर्म कर सकते हो द साइज वगैरह सब सही से नजर आ रहा है? और बिकॉज आई नो मेरा मॉनिटर थोड़ा वाइड वाला है, पर सब
जी
कुछ
सर।
प्रॉपर नजर आ रहा
जी सर।
है, रीडेबल?
जी सर। जी सर, इट्स विजिबल एंड रीडेबल।
ओके, ऑसम। एंड देन एक सेकंड, मैं ये एडजस्ट कर लूँ। ओके, परफेक्ट। So I guess शुरू करने से पहले, लास्ट टाइम मेंशन मैं ऑडियंस की प्रेफरेंस थी मैं इंग्लिश में बात करूं। आई गेस आप कंफर्म कर सकते हो, लाइक शुड आई इंग्लिश में और उर्दू में? ऑब्वियसली मेरी इंग्लिश बहुत बेहतर है उर्दू से, पर मैं दोनों कर सकता हूँ, अगर कंफर्म कर सकते हो आप।
सर हम प्रेफर करते हैं आईकुड ग्रुप पे वेबिनार्स को कि हम उर्दू में ही कंडक्ट करें, बिकॉज हमारे पास काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट की मेजोरिटी है जो कि हम तकरीबन टीयर 2 टीयर 3 यूनिवर्सिटी से ताल्लुक़ रख रहे होते हैं। तो सर आप पर इट्स टोटली डिपेंड्स ऑन यू। अगर सर हम इंग्लिश में लेके चलते हैं तो भी ठीक है, वरना हम मोस्टली प्रेफर करते हैं कि हम लोकल लैंग्वेज में ही मतलब कि कम्युनिकेट करें अपने स्टूडेंट्स के साथ। तो सर इट्स
ठीक है।
परफेक्टली फाइन।
ठीक है, मैं उर्दू में कर लूंगा, एंड देन जो भी मुझे मुश्किल और, उर्दू में समझाने में मैं इंग्लिश में कर लूंगा। देन अगर क्वेश्चंस होएंगे, फिर क्वेश्चंस के जरिए मैं क्लैरिफाई कर
श्योर
सकता
सर,
हूँ।
नो प्रॉब्लम, नो प्रॉब्लम सर।
Awesome. ठीक है। ठीक है, सो आज मैं प्रेजेंट करना चाह रहा हूँ बेसिकली एआई में इतनी सारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज आ रही है दैट ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेसेस जो लोगों एप्स बहुत देर पहले से एग्जिस्ट करते थे, जिसमें आप एआई को इम्प्लीमेंट करके अपनी ओन कंपनी बना सकते हो। इसमें वही यही डिस्कस करेंगे आप कैसे ढूंढ सकते हो एंड आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हो एप्स दैट एक्चुअली सक्सेसफुल हुए हुए, एंड उसमें कौन सी एरियाज है जहाँ पर आप एआई इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हो, एंड देन उसके वजह से आप एक अपनी पूरी एक कंपनी बना सकते हो। मैं थोड़े एग्जांपल्स भी दिखाऊंगा that जो लोगों ने शुरू में सिर्फ एक ही बंदा और बंदी इंसान ने आइडिया पकड़ा था, एक ऐप जो 10 12 साल से चल रही है, उसको थोड़ा सा एआई डाल के अब उनकी इतनी बड़ी कंपनी चल रही है। एंड देन वो एक माइंडसेट एंड फ्रेमवर्क क्या इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो खुद ही करने के लिए as well. Oh, एक second. Ah, there we go. So ऑब्वियसली आप लोग सब आई क्लाउड गुरु में हो, सो इसके मायने आप लोगों को थोड़ा ये पता है दैट आजकल एक बहुत बड़ा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एंड एक बहुत बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी चल रहा है, जहाँ पर वन जो एआई के वजह से नॉट ओनली आप नई चीज़ें बना सकते हो जो किसी ने कभी पहले देखी नहीं है, लेकिन आप ऑल्सो जो पुरानी चीज़ें हैं, उनको पूरा चेंज करके ज़्यादा वैल्यूबल, ज़्यादा आसान, ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव बना सकते हो, और उसके वजह से लोगों पूरी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज बना रहे हैं इस वजह से। एंड सो एक एक इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ है जो आपको याद रखना चाहिए दैट आप लोग फॉर एग्जांपल आई क्लाउड गुरु में हो, आप लोग के पास एक एक पैशन है, एक ड्राइव है, एक आप लोग मोटिवेटेड हो। इसके मायने है that आप लोग थोड़े आगे सोचो दूसरे लोगों से। सो आप लोग की नजर आ रही होगी द प्रॉब्लम्स दैट दूसरों को नहीं नजर आ रही होगी। बहुत सारे लोगों फिर भी अभी भी एआई से रेजिस्टेंट है, और वो डेवलपर और कंप्यूटर साइंस इंजीनियर जो है 10 20 साल से, एंड उनके लिए ज़्यादा थोड़ा आहिस्ता प्रोसेस होता है एआई को पकड़ने के लिए। लेकिन आप लोग जो अभी भी शुरू से यही सीख रहे हो, उसकी वजह से आप इतने इम्पोर्टेंट टाइम पर ऐसे स्किल्स एंड थोड़ा माइंडसेट गेन कर रहे हो जिससे आप बहुत सारे लोगों से आगे निकल सकते हो। एंड देन मेन चीज़ है टाइमिंग। ये जो अभी चल रहा है, एंड आई थिंक आई एम श्योर आई क्लाउड ग्रुप में बहुत सारे लोगों ने क्या होगा दैट जब जब इंटरनेट बना था, जब सेल फोन्स निकले थे, जो अपॉर्चुनिटी थी एंड बहुत बड़े कंपनीज बहुत बड़े प्रोडक्ट्स बनाने के लिए, अम, ये सेम टाइम है एआई के साथ। एंड सो आज मैं बहुत स्पेसिफिकली फोकस करूंगा that आप कैसे ढूंढ सकते हो जो बिजनेसेस और एप्स जो बहुत देर से चल रहे हैं, जिसके आपको आप डेटा के जरिए प्रूव कर सकते हो दैट ये एप्स सक्सेसफुल है, दैट ये that बहुत सारे यूजर इस्तेमाल करते हैं, वो हर दिन इस्तेमाल करते हैं, and उसकी वजह से एक बहुत बड़ा मार्केट शेयर होता है, राइट। मैं और थोड़ा बाद में डिस्क्राइब करूंगा, बट जब आप एक सोल्यूशन और ऐप और प्रोडक्ट बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, आपको वन ऑफ द सबसे बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ें जो होती है, आपको वैलिडेट करना होता है मार्केट। टोटल बोलते हैं टोटल एड्रेसेबल मार्केट, उसके मायने कितने लोग दुनिया में इस ऐप को इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, और इस प्रेजेंटेशन के तौर पर कितने लोग और करते हैं, राइट। एंड जब आपको पता है एक बहुत ही बड़े पॉपुलेशन करते हैं, इसके मायने अगर आप कोई एआई के जरिए और कोई और जरिए एक वैल्यूबल एंड इम्पोर्टेंट फीचर और एस्पेक्ट निकाल सकते हैं अपने आप में। आप अगर आप थोड़ा सा भी मार्केट शेयर ले लो, आपके फिर भी आपके रेवेन्यू एंड जो पैसे बनते हैं बहुत ही बड़े होते हैं। सो जैसे मैं कहता आज का जो,
Sir,
हाँ जी।
sir, sorry for disrupt you here. Sir, there are many comments in the chat. So can we
Oh, actually,
switch to English?
yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. I think last time, yeah, we could, uh,
Uh,
better for me as well. So, um, let me make sure. Yeah. So, as I was saying before, um, this is a time where people who are building by themselves, like you guys yourselves, if you want to start a company, if you are, really trying to figure out a way to, make a product, make a solution, uh, this is really the time where the big companies, the large companies like that we all know that have been here for 10, 20, 30 years, for them, it's very hard to quickly pick up AI. They have thousands of employees, they have uh, thousands and thousands of customers. They can't just change immediately. And because of that, when you are creating a product by yourself, you're able to quickly move and quickly, create a product, iterate, be able to get feedback, quickly change, maybe. And so because of that, there's many, many cases where uh, even just a single person started a company by themselves. And now there's very much, they're making millions over just a couple of years. Um, and so just some real examples, just to really, show that this is very, very possible. And this is actually the time, right? And so, maybe like 5, 10 years from now, when people have made a lot of products, it'll be much tougher. But right now, there's a lot of, things that if you were to, I'll go through the kind of the steps to kind of identify those. But right now is kind of that time before other people, think of that idea and make the company already. But just some examples. So Perplexity, not just in case if you guys have heard of it, it is actually a very useful tool. It's an AI tool where it actually combines the results from multiple LLMs. So, GPT, Claude, Gemini, and it'll actually put those together and give you a result. And its biggest feature that actually has really put it at the front has been search. And so before, with Google search, you type in your search and it just gives you links. And then you have to click on each link and you have to read each, website. With Perplexity, it actually takes all those links, figures out the answer to your question, and then gives you a full, a detailed answer with sources. And because of that, just in a year or 2 years, they have 150 million users. Even though we all know Google is the leader, right? We say go Google this or Google that. Um, Perplexity is the first one to actually get this big amount of users in just a short amount of time, just because they used AI to read all the links and then put it all together and just give that to the user. As simple as that, right? Photo AI, similarly, you can imagine it's an AI photo editing tool, but they found a gap in the market, and now they're already doing $2 million, every year. Jasper, similarly, like they just got valued for 1.5 billion. And again, same thing. There is existing apps out there. All they did was put a little bit of AI in there, and that's how they went. Same with Writer and Photo Room as well. Yeah. So, um, so this framework, and I'll just say ahead of time. This is a very high level framework, of course. It's I only have so much time to explain that, all the details. But this high level framework is to get your kind of mind on how you should start to think about, just opportunities or when you want to make something or want to create something, the best way to kind of just make sure that you are creating something that will make value and not waste your time. And so over at a high level, it's called the SHIP framework. So SHIP. The key, those four pieces are one, you want to spot opportunities. So you want to find problems in popular apps. The key being, popular apps that people are using very frequently, and then finding problems that actually um, one take a lot of time for people, uh, and things that people need to use frequently are very common, right? So it's something that somebody has to do every day, but it wastes a lot of time, and you can make it go from 20 minutes to 2 minutes, or make it go from 5 minutes to 5 seconds. That is those kind of opportunities that you want to spot. Hustle to test. Hustle to test basically means you want to do testing to make sure that people will actually pay. All right. And so um, this framework and what I'm trying to present right now isn't just, some uh, desirable or, optimistic framework. This one is that what I'm trying to say is basically there's no reason in wasting your time coding for weeks or months, just to make something that nobody is going to pay for, right? You want to make something that that will actually get, people will pay for it, you will get money and revenue, and you can use that money to make a bigger and bigger company, right? And so I'll go through this more in a little bit, but you want to make sure that before you start putting a lot of time to make a product or a company or a solution, you want to double check and test, will people actually pay for it or not? And then through that process, you want to iterate the product. So basically, as you start to test, the market and see if you actually make money, you'll start to get feedback, and you can constantly use that to improve the product. The worst thing you can do is spend 6, 7, 8, 9, months or 1 year making something just all by, without any feedback, and then, trying to launch it, and then people will not pay for it, right? You want to do this very early so that that whole 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 months, you are actually using feedback and making something that people will actually pay for, and then publish the market. So everything before this has been testing and creating, right? And then the publish the market is obviously when you go live. And just sorry, just some examples again, and just to really, show that this is very possible with one, two, three people by themselves, just with this idea and being able to really create a big company, right? And before it was like you have to have big teams or whatever. Here with, obviously with AI, with GPT, with Claude, whatever, just one, two, or three people can create big, big companies. And these examples also to maybe to start giving you ideas or how you should look at apps or look at existing solutions or products. Photo AI, these two students from some college. So basically, they're still college students. They realize when you get your professional photos done, you go to the studio, you have someone with a nice camera, and go to the have all the photos done. They usually cost around $500. So when someone goes to the studio and get photos, costs $500. So they realized that is obviously way too much. So they first tested, and I'll go into how to do good testing later. But basically, it's the idea that you create a website and a landing page and a wait list, and then you start to post online and convince people. So in 2 days, they had 1,000 people sign up, even though they did not have an app yet. So this is the 1,000 people who signed up in 2 days, even though they didn't even build the app yet. So this proved that, oh, 1,000 people in 2 days, now I should go build the app, right? And so they built this AI photo app, and now they make $2 million a year. Similar with tenor, there was three students, again, students in college. They noticed that doctors waste about 2 hours every day on just doing paperwork. Not patients or anything, just the paperwork and putting the documents and all that. So they tested by going and asking doctors online and in their city. And so they had apparently 50 doctors who really wanted someone to build something to make the paperwork easier. And so they built the AI medical assistant. And now they just got investment of $18 million. And then Study Buddy, one student all by himself in India, he simple as he realized that preparing for exams is stressful, and so he thought of an idea of making an AI study planner, and then he just tested by going to WhatsApp groups and saying like, "Hey, if I built this, would you buy it?" And a lot of people loved the idea, and so in 6 months after he built it, he had 100,000 users. So ideas that they're just one simple idea. You realize that a pain point that is existing, maybe in current app, current solutions, and that one either costs a lot of money for users or costs a lot of time, right? So either it costs money or costs time for users, and then how can you use AI to make that better? And then you start there. And then Oksana, let me know. I know we only have about I guess 30 more minutes. And I have a few more slides. Should I just wait until the end for questions, or should I maybe take it in the middle?
सर जिस तरह से आपको ना कंफर्टेबल लगे कि अगर हम दरमियान में क्वेश्चन ले सकते हैं तो यस वी कैन, अगर हम लास्ट में ले सकते हैं तो वो भी ठीक है सर,
Okay,
डिपेंड्स ऑन यू बेसिकली।
got it. I guess we'll go through a couple more slides because I know the questions take also a lot of time. I know we have in 30 minutes it ends, right? I think.
श्योर सर।
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll go through a few more slides. So yeah, so the first step in the method was spot, where I mean basically is finding opportunities. Really not only opportunities, but finding problems that are worth solving. Um, and there's a lot of ways to really kind of validate that, but just the best way that you can really actually get better at it is to actually start just doing it and trying it yourself. There's a lot of formulas and data, and that you can always find those online in terms of validating, the addressable market, how much potential revenue and all that. But more than that, at least at the stage that we're all at, we really just want to have like the mindset, right? And so to really kind of just start, building that mindset, you know, just pick an app, right? The one that either you use daily or family, friends use daily, or you notice people in your city use a lot daily. And then this is the key part is to find complaints, right? So find the reviews of that app. Read all the 1 star, 2 star reviews. Read the Reddit, Facebook, Twitter discussions about them. Ask people what frustrates them about it. Um, and then gather all that data. And this third step, you can actually use GPT or other, AI. Um, you can actually take all of that and copy all the 1 star, 2 star reviews, all the Reddit, Facebook discussions, what your friends and family said, and just put it there and ask GPT, what is the most common complaints that people are having? What is making people frustrated? What is it what is costing people the most time and the most money? And then you can also ask it, how can I solve this with AI? So steps 3 and 4, you can actually use AI to do, right? So steps 1 and 2, you may have to do yourself a little bit. But steps 3 and 4, you can definitely just, use AI and get, that insights. And that'll give you kind of the idea of maybe what should I start, building. And just to give you just kind of categories of things that you might find that maybe what you can look to fix. One is bad customer service. We all know that you can use chatbots that are always there 24/7. Um, Apps that have too many choices and too much options and just complicated, right? You can use that AI to personalization. For Netflix or videos, there's thousands of movies. How do you just find the movie that you like? Anywhere that's actually too much typing or too much button pressing, too much interaction, to have either to have voice control, And then another aspect is if too much interaction, you can have the text prompts like with the latest coding tools. Um, Not understanding users, this one's not very like common that but maybe useful for certain apps. To have that level of mood detection or if someone's using an app when they're excited versus frustrated or whatever it may be, to present them different options or things like that. Um, Being able to predict kind of the future for users. They may run out of data in 2 days. They will lose this much weight in a 1 month if they keep doing the same workout or whatever it may be. Being able to predict the future accurately, which you couldn't do with AI before. And then manual entry as well, right? So before you would have to type in a lot of stuff from something that may be physical, being able to use the camera to enter in a lot of data. And it doesn't have to be text either, right? There's someone or I forgot the name of it. It was Cal AI or something like that. Basically, you take the photo of your food and it tells you how much calories it has. That company is making, I think, millions and millions of dollars off of something that people would just Google before, right? Like how much, calories in my non. Now it's you take a photo and just because of that, this person is making millions. And I think it was just one college student or something like that as well, or high school student. I think it was a high school student. Yeah. So just to validate if your problem, the problem that you've chosen, is it big enough, right? Like I said, you want to make sure is it worth you putting time, right? Because you only make a company if the company makes money, right? So you want to get an idea of how many people have this problem, how many people are using these types of apps, how many people are, being frustrated, how much time or money are they wasting because of it, and then how much can you actually save, right? It's just an example, and this is just a random example. If you're have an app or solution that 50,000 people use, there's they waste 2 hours a week, on this bad process that you can, give them back 2 hours a week. And say you're making a business app, right, or an app that a business uses, and they pay them $20 an hour. Well, then you're saving $104 million overall, right? And so if you say, if your AI can save 80% of that 83 million, and then I should have added this here as well. The idea is that you only need to take a small market share, right? So if you create an app that gives the value and people like it, and you took 1% of that 104 million, right? That's 10 million, right? Or like 1 million, right? And so if you could take 5%, right? And so depending on how big that market is, and then the idea isn't you're going to take the whole market. Even if you could take 1% or 5% or 10%, 10% is actually very big, maybe 1 to 5%. That's still a good amount, of money. And so, and then you grow from there, right? So even with the 104 million, if you could take 1%, you have about 1 million a year, basically. Um, And so before going on to the next step, and I'll take questions after this slide, basically, so once you've kind of chosen a problem, you don't want to just start building blindly, right? Biggest mistake people do is they code for 3, 6, sometimes 12 months. They just, code and code. They don't really check. And then after all that work, they launch, and then they realize that nobody actually wants it, right? And actually 90% of apps actually fail that way. And so I'll kind of go through in the next few slides on how to just test any idea. You can do it in 1 week. If you want to go deeper, you can take longer, right? But the idea is you want to test the idea first and then build it when you've proven that people will pay for it. Um, yeah, and so we can take a few questions, but there are good amount of slides left as well. So I just want to make sure we have enough time. Sam, could you, I guess, choose, or I'm having a hard time seeing the people raising their hands. Okay, I think I see it now. I guess, Ram, what question did you have?
Hello, Aslam sir.
Welcome, Aslan.
Okay, sir, my question might be like beyond the topic, but it's relevant to the business idea. I have much idea, but the main difficulties I face to a startup, getting investment or getting team. Like initially, no one trust on you, and no one want to waste time on a startup idea. So how can you figure it out? How can you convince your team or someone else whom like how can you find them and how can you convince them and how can you find the investment for your project for your any idea business.
Makes sense. I guess I'd ask because it's very different between an app made for consumers or people and an app made for selling to businesses, right? I would say like for I guess for your question, like what is your app for like just consumers and people, or is it meant to sell to businesses or companies?
It's basically for some kind of let's suppose I am just taking example. There is much idea, different ideas, but let's suppose I want to start a e-commerce business, okay? And the thing is I have to build my website, and for that either I will learn everything from a scratch and I will build website. That would be costly for taking so much of time. And another thing, I can convince some of my team and they can give time. But the major problem I face it's hard to convince them and it's hard to find the likely minded people. So how can some entrepreneur tackle this problem?
Got it. Makes sense. Honestly, I'd say if you're talking about convincing people to build with you, right? I think that's what you're saying, like, and not to sell to people, but to build with you. Um, you'd really have to either one thing my mind goes to is these days you have all the tools that really build yourself. If it's an e-commerce product, for example, that's something you could use, GPT and Claude and Cursor to build, and at least, and I'll go through these other steps, and you may see that you don't have to build a big product, right? You really need to first actually start with building a very small MVP or like a minimal viable product. It's just the one and most important feature, and you build it, and then you convince some people that they want to use it. And then if you have a list of people who want to buy and use, and then you bring that to the your team, then they'd be more easy to convince, right? Because now you don't just have an idea, you have a list of people who are saying, I will pay this much money. Then that money convinces people, right? Um, without that, then you're giving ideas. Um, but if you come to them with a proven list of this is make you money, it'd be much more easier to convince, who you're trying to convince.
Okay, and that makes sense. What I actually want to get suggestion from you, will it be worthy? Like, if I invest time to build some product, or will it I have to some make some team, and those I have to hire expert or I have to convince expert. I mean, should we do by ourselves? First of all, we can do everything from scratch by and then we will try to convince other, or from the very beginning should we look up for the team in many people. What do you suggest? Did you get my
Makes
point?
sense. Yeah, I think so. You're saying that was it better to try to build something by yourself or first make a team and build with the team?
Uh,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Depends on what you're building, right? Because if it's something very, very big and intense, then maybe a team. But most things like, if it's simple thing like maybe e-commerce platform or things like that, uh, maybe just trying to start building by yourself or even before building, like on this slide itself right here where it's saying the smart way, do more of like customer outreach and marketing first, just to see if there are people who will actually buy your product, right?
Mm.
And then if you have proof that people will buy it, present a formal, a document or presentation to your team to convince them, right? Um, because like without that, then it's very hard. Um, So I would say the main thing is like even if you were going to build it yourself, you should still test and and see if people will actually buy it before you waste your own time as well. Um, and that'll probably give you an idea of like should you do it yourself or get a team, depending on how much people are willing to pay. Yeah.
Got it.
थोड़ा
Um,
सा मैं ऐड करना चाहूँगा। थैंक यू साद खान। स्टूडेंट्स, मेरा नाम डॉक्टर रिजवान गफार है। मैं सिलिकॉन वैली बे एरिया में होता हूँ। आई कोड गुरु के मैनेजमेंट से मेरा ताल्लुक है। तो सबसे पहले तो थैंक यू वेरी मच साद खान फॉर दिस ग्रेट वेबिनार। बड़ा आपने इस चीज़ को समराइज किया बड़े अच्छे तरीके से, बड़े सिंपल अल्फाज में। कई दफ़ा होता है ना, चीज़ें कॉम्प्लिकेटेड होती हैं और कोई आपको बड़े सिंपल तरीके से बता देता है कि आप किस तरह एक बिजनेस, एक स्टार्टअप शुरू कर सकते हैं। तो जिस तरह आपने इसको एक्सप्लेन किया, आई रियली अप्रिशिएट दैट, कि जिस तरह आपने इसको इतना सिंप्लीफाइड तरीके से बताया कि इट्स नॉट अ बिग थिंग, और स्टूडेंट्स किस तरह आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। तो स्टूडेंट साद खान इज यहाँ पर जहाँ हम रहते हैं वहीं पे होते हैं। इनसे हमारी अक्सर मस्जिद में भी मुलाकात होती है। और आप लोगों को शायद पता होगा कि ये सर अनवर खान के बेटे हैं। सर अनवर खान इज़ अ बिग सपोर्ट फॉर आई कोड गुरु, और वो जन आई के मुख्तलिफ सेशंस और पाक एंजल्स के थ्रू उन्होंने बड़ा काम किया है और बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं, और हम कोशिश करते हैं कि उनको उस काम में थोड़ा सा सपोर्ट करें। तो अगेन थैंक यू वेरी मच साद खान। इट्स प्लेयर टू हैव यू हेयर, एंड थैंक्स फॉर दिस वेरी पर्टिनेंट गाइडेंस। इतने सिंप्लीफाइड
yeah.
अल्फाज में कितने सिंपल अप्रोच से आपने बताया, जो आई होप कि
Yeah.
हमारे स्टूडेंट्स इससे ज़रूर फ़ायदा उठाएंगे। तो थैंक यू अगेन स्टूडेंट।
Yeah.
ज़रूर अगर आपके कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं तो पूछें। साथ खान को ज़रूर ऐड करें अपने लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल में। ही इज़ ऑलरेडी
Yeah.
एट हिज दिस यंग एज, ही इज़ ए वेरी अकम्पलिश्ड प्रोफेशनल, और इंशाल्लाह हमारी दुआ है और हमें उम्मीद है ही विल कंटिन्यू टू राइज एंड मेक अस प्राउड। तो ज़रूर इनसे कांटेक्ट रखें, और जो गाइडेंस भी चाहिए होती है लिंक्डइन के थ्रू भी आप इनसे पूछ सकते हैं। ही इज़ वेरी हेल्पफुल टू द कम्युनिटी। तो चलिए, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
हाँ, नहीं, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जी, थैंक यू जी। It's a very enjoyable to be able to do these webinars and help teach as well. Um, I know I have two more questions, and I know we have 15 minutes after it, and there's actually a good amount after. So good. I'll go Usher, and then after Mohammed, उसके बाद।
सर अशर, आप क्वेश्चन पूछ लें अपना।
Hello, sir.
हाँ जी, अस्सलाम
Sir, I have a question like if we ha have an idea to build app or website, and if we have not built yet, like how can we introduce our idea, uh, on which platform should we, use, like on start from Instagram, Reddit, Quora, something like that, like.
alaikum। एक्चुअली मैं कहूँगा ये मेरे नेक्स्ट स्लाइड यही आपका आंसर करेगा। सो अभी आंसर करने के बगैर मैं वो नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स पे वो एग्जैक्टली यही कवर
Thank you,
करूँगा जी।
sir.
जी, and then Mohammed,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah,
Okay, so my question is more around identifying the right problem, because I've tried to start building many ideas for the last few years, and the one problem that I always end up facing is I start building the solution and I end up finding out that it's already out there in the market, and even if it's a week, it's time and potential wasted, resource wasted. So I guess my question is, based on the environment we're in, or maybe the geographical target that we have, we're trying to hit, how do we, when we find problems, there may be like many problems, 15, 20, maybe hundreds, but which one do we choose? How do we choose which problem to actually even consider building on upon?
yeah, makes sense. Um, and so I definitely understand what you're saying. Like even this webinar is actually focused on solving certain these problems in apps that already exist, right? So that your question is very on point. Um, one is biggest thing I've kind of realized is choosing a problem in a space that has the largest total addressable market possible, and total addressable market being like how many people, how much potential is of customers, of users, of people. And because if there's, for example, if there's a market that is only addressing like 1 million people versus 100 million people, and there's some apps, and it's not just a specific app, right? It's the app space, right? So if you were to say like, bad example is social media, but social media, it's not just Instagram, it's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, like that whole market is billions, right? But even for the smaller ones, if it's just all the apps put together, 100 million or whatever, the bigger that is, then if you were able to just get 1% of that, right? So the bigger that a market is, 1% also gets bigger and bigger, right? And obviously you would want to, go past 1%, but in certain markets, it, getting 1% is actually humongous, right? And so, but if you do even better, right, 5%, 10%, whatever, that reduces that, kind of area of failure, right? The second part I would say is, there may be solutions that exist out there, but the idea is like, how is your solution different, right? And so that goes into, really identifying the opportunity in the first place. If you identify, okay, I want to create this different version of this, what, already exists, then you should definitely validate if it already exists. And if it does already exist, then why is your implementation or your, spin on it or version of it different? And then different being, how is it providing more value? Because the thing I've realized is people will only either pay for your product or use your product um, if it, saves them time, saves them money, or gives them greater pleasure, right? Like enjoyment, right? Because those are, three key pieces of value. Um, and so you definitely have to have a strong statement on how you are doing that better to a point enough that people will use your product or switch to your product. Um, and then I know we're running short on time, but I'd say like those are the two definitely key ones. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep, definitely. I'll kind of move forward because I know we have 12 minutes left, and then I'll take questions a little later as well. So, cool. So yeah, so the second step really is kind of, first one is identifying that opportunity, and really kind of validating it, just even in the how I described in the questions. But then this is the key part of validating it, right? So you want to test it before you start building, and that goes to your last question as well. One, so in that first step is you really do want to do get those negative reviews, get all that information, see like realize that there's not nobody else really doing it out there. But just because nobody else is doing it, whatever wanted to create, that doesn't mean that it's actually people will actually pay for it, right? And so this step is really about making sure that even though you have maybe this very special solution, will people actually pay for it, right? And this is just one kind of way of going about it. There's many other ways, and main thing is to really get the mindset or framework around it, and then you can do it different ways. But the key part is really getting hard data that people will pay for it, and enough people will pay for it, right? And so just one way that a lot of people with this whole AI explosion and people just creating apps using AI that people have been doing that have been successful for a lot of these guys is one, you want to make kind of a simple website just being kind of a landing page. Even, again, this is before you even start building it. There's people creating a page describing the problem, the solution, the product that they have, and all they have is a join waitlist button, right? And they just get people's email addresses, and that is showing you, if people are actually interested. Obviously, your website isn't going to show up on Google search on day one. So then your second step is to actually find interested people. One thing I've realized is Reddit, and I don't know if you guys have used Reddit, but it is an amazing place where people are having open, candid conversations about pretty much anything. And so that's one strong area where you can really, you know, uh, describe and showcase the value that you're going to bring, and you can find threads and posts where people are complaining about the problem that you're solving, and you just really just explain and post and really showcase yourself there. You can message on LinkedIn, you can share on WhatsApp groups, you can share it with your friends and communities. Literally, like this second list could be infinite, right? You just want to put it out there and make see in the areas where like people may be interested and see how many of them are going to actually be like, oh, that actually sounds interesting. Let me at least put my name on the wait list, right? Because the wait list also doesn't mean that they're going to pay, but that's why you want a big wait list because that small people are going to still pay, right? And so uh, again, these numbers right here are just kind of numbers that depends on what app we're talking about and how much money you have to put into it, but just as kind of just general numbers, and this really does change. But say for your website, you want to have 100 visitors, just minimum. And this is again, this is in this scenario, it's 7 days, and it's just you just posting everywhere, right? The 100 visitors minimum, 25 of that join the wait list. That means you had at least a wait list conversion of 25%. And then huge indicator is like people are actually asking you, when can I actually buy this, right? It just or whatever methods you want to use, but you just really want to validate that there is real, true interest. Just because people will say, "Oh, that's a great idea. I would buy it, if you did it." That does not usually mean that they will actually buy it, right? Like you want to get as close to the data of like these people will actually buy it. Because if you post it and people when they don't have to give money, people will always say, "Oh, that's a great idea. I would pay for that." And then when you ask them for money, they'll be like, "Oh no." Right? So you want to get as hard data and whatever methods you think of that people will truly buy it. And use that to validate should I actually waste my time building it. Um, in terms of just the quick like how do you really communicate the value proposition that you have at a high level? The formula is you really detail the current problem. People want to know that you actually understand their problem. When they're on a website or when going to pay for something, they need to feel like you really understand what they're feeling and what they're going through, the solution that you're providing. And again, when you say the solution, it is not the technology because you explain AI to someone that's gonna most of the time they're not gonna understand. Solution is actually the benefit, right? I will save you X hours. I will save you Y dollars. Whatever it is, that is the solution, right? And that turns into that kind of final result. And so the kind of those key headlines and catchphrases are really what get winners. Like I think I uh, read a couple of research was people usually spend like 10 seconds on a website, right? Like just on the random websites they go to before they decide this is not worth it. I'm going somewhere else. So you have like 5 to 10 seconds when someone comes on your website to prove that you are going to give them enough value for them to stay another minute or two, right? And if you don't do it in the 5 to 10 seconds, they're going to leave your website, and right. And so you may have the best product, but you also have to have good communication. And you can test different versions, right? And so that last step when you're posting Reddit, LinkedIn, WhatsApp groups, try different versions, right? And see which ones people respond to most. And that'll tell you, oh, they respond to this version of my message more. That means that one's a little bit better, and use that to make that one even more better. And yeah, and so in terms of kind of being students, you have a lot of access to different things as well. People are really willing to kind of help students as well. I think I overrode it by accident, but there's a lot of AI tools and a lot of tools that if you are able to show that you're a student, you have a good amount of free access to tokens or whatever it may be. And so definitely leverage that because later you would have to start paying for everything from the start. When you're in university, you have hundreds of users nearby, which is students. You have teachers, you have professors, you have whatever it may be. Use them, right? Like I mean, don't be shy. Be a little assertive and aggressive. And professors know a lot of, smart people as well, right? If you want guidance or whatever, use your professors as well. And then you have the freedom to experiment, right? Like you are in school, you can make an app that, obviously, like I said, use the free resources. If it fails, it fails. That's fine, right? You just do another one. And the more you do it, like the more experience you'll get as well. And then I think someone had asked, like, where are good places to test? Honestly, like I think you know all the lists. You may be asking which is the best. Just do all of them, right? Like if you have the time, do WhatsApp, Reddit, Facebook, LinkedIn. You know, put it out everywhere when you're testing. Um, and again, these numbers are just kind of, they change for every situation. But after all this testing, right, you did it for a week or two. How do you decide if you're going to continue, right? You want to continue with, and 100 plus is just, again, like just a number. It really depends. But you actually have people joining the wait list. That means when you give the message, they're interested and they're willing to pay. People, once you kind of maybe get your initial uh, version out and all, you have 25% people actually signing up. You have 10 people ready to pay. Like you actually have some data, right? The basically ideas, and you also through this whole process you feel excited, right? And the idea about that is if you're feeling something is wrong, you feel like something is, not feeling good or not feeling right, or you're just not, excited or, motivated about it, then it's going to be very hard to build a company on something that it just feels not right, right? And so you want to make sure that's there as well. And then stop if like, you just don't have enough people signing up, right? If you've tried really hard to put your message out and not people are not signing up, then it's an indicator that maybe you need to find another solution or a problem to tackle. People say it's nice and will pay. I was saying that before. People will always say it's a great idea. But then when you actually get to signing up, they'll say like, maybe later or, not right now. You're already not feeling excited and maybe you found something better. The nice part about doing all this work and going through this process, sometimes you find the best idea in the middle of dealing with your last idea, and so you just want to keep going through that. I think I kind of actually mentioned these earlier, but kind of just the features that you can think of, and these are not this is obviously like a very small set of out of probably hundreds of ideas, but one button solutions, things that would take people multiple interactions, inputs, that you could automate into one button, again saving them time. Chats instead of forms, people having to fill out a lot of information that takes them a long time, being able to do it through chat or do voice chat. Smart suggestions, right? Instead of just giving generic stuff that people have to go through, and just imagine if YouTube didn't have suggestions and you just had to like search for everything all the time. Instant answers and kind of learning about you as well. Yeah, and so key piece is when you're building the initial piece, this initial kind of solution or your product, do not build something massive, right? Or do not build something with all the features. Don't build, you may have a lot of features listed. Don't like go into spending months and months and months. You want to decide what is your minimum viable product, right? And at this kind of stage of you just figuring things out and validating, you maybe just want to choose one feature, the one big feature, right? The one that you realize that this is a big problem, and there may be little features that make it better. Do not do the little features right now. Just do the one big feature or one big problem that you're solving, and just create that. And it's okay if it's simple design. It's okay if it's ugly and the UI isn't beautiful. It's okay if it doesn't work 100% of the time. If it works 80% of the time, the whole point right now isn't to create a big company with this. The whole point is to prove, it took me 1, 2 months to build this. Should I put another 10, 12, 2 years to build even more, right? This is the whole point. And so you use what you had before, like in terms of all the users who signed up and the wait list, and you tell them, this is my alpha product. Yeah, you are my special users. I want to have you test it. You test it for free. Tell me what's wrong with it. Tell me, would you pay for this? And just give them this, minimum product, and have them test it. Make them feel like they're special, and have them give feedback and see would they pay. This is probably the biggest data and feedback you could actually get before you put a lot of time and money, right? You actually get very direct feedback, and you'll at this stage, many times people find out, yeah, this is a bad idea. I am going to not do this, or this is a great idea. I'm going to do this, right? But again, don't make a big product. Choose the one big feature, make it quick, make it simple, and just have people test it. And just tell them this is the initial version 1, and I want you to test it. With AI, especially if your product is going to have users who are not used to AI, you want to make it trustworthy as well. Things that are obvious, like the undo button, show why AI made the choice. Maybe let users adjust some settings just to make them feel like that they have some idea of what is actually happening. And it depends from product to product. It doesn't really have to be in every single product. But again, what's not needed in this is you don't need to have a mobile app, right? Everyone is starting with a web application, right? A website, right? They don't need to have an Android app and a iOS app or whatever. Simple website. A website works on desktop and cell phones, right? It's just a simple website. It doesn't have to have the perfect AI. It's okay if it fails sometimes, as long as people are still getting understanding what the value is. Doesn't have to have big features, and doesn't have to be beautiful as well. Just in terms of, I know everyone is students, or maybe just kind of starting out, these are some kind of good tools that you can use to really just get this minimal viable product out there without spending too much money. In terms of hosting, you have Vercel, and there's other options out there as well. But that's very either free. A lot of this stuff is actually free for students, so use that while you can, or low cost. OpenAI and Claude, I think, have free credits for students as well. Databases, Superbase also gives that free credits at the start. Obviously, these won't be free long term, but they're free for you to prove, is it worth spending my time building something, right? That simple version 1 that I just talked about. And then payments. This might be, I don't know if you can use Stripe in Pakistan, but there's certain payment providers that don't charge monthly. They just charge every time you make sale. They'll take a cut. They'll take a portion of your sale, but you don't have to pay monthly, right? And so in terms of saving money, use cheaper AI models. Don't use like the latest, GPT-4. Use like GPT 3.5. You can set daily limits per your users. You can save common responses and have them kind of optimizations behind the scenes, and then check your costs every day, right? If you actually do launch, and then you may catch that, oh, me using the Vercel or Superbase is costing me a lot when it may be cheaper to use something else now that I'm making money. Yeah, and then the last piece is kind of launching, and launching smart as well. So once, like I mentioned, first week you launch, and you have your friends, family, the people on the wait list or whatever, test it out, give you honest, obvious feedback, and improve your app with that feedback. Then try with real users that maybe, again, yeah, from your wait list, and have them give you feedback directly. Again, continuously iterating, right? So before you spend all this money on advertisements and whatever, use what you built in steps 1, 2, and 3, right? The people that you got in steps 1, 2, and 3, and use them as your test subjects, right? And tell them, you are my test subjects. I think I trust you. I want your ideas. And a lot of people will actually do it just because they feel special. I mean, that's why we have beta programs, right? People only do beta programs because it makes them feel special. And then once you have iterated that enough and feel like, okay, I've worked out the big bugs and whatever, not all the bugs, like it's still okay to have bugs. I mean, we use apps that have bugs all the time, right? But then go into the actual, back into the, the internet, right? WhatsApp, Facebook, Reddit. Now on here, you're not saying join my wait list, this app is coming. Now you're saying, I have this app. Do you want to sign up? This is what, benefits it'll provide, whatever, and public announcement as well, right? So, using social media. At this point now, you're kind of attaching more of your name to it, university groups, whatever. Basically, you want to get bigger and bigger in the people you're trying to reach. And again, you want to keep checking, are people actually paying for this? After all these steps, if people are still just not paying for it, they don't want to pay for it, then you may want to just decide that maybe um, yeah, this is not a valuable solution. Um, and I think this is one of the last slides is you want to avoid these mistakes. You don't want to be perfectionist. Like I said, don't build for 6 months without doing, and then it turns out nobody cares. Don't be addicted to features. Just get whatever you can out, and then use user feedback to decide what features. Um, don't try to show off like the technology. The whole point is to really show off the benefits, right? And then a lot of people, it's hard for them to figure out like how to implement payments and pricing. So you want to have an idea of how to get people to pay for it. And I think I know we're over time, but basically same things that we just covered already. And I'll provide the slide deck as well. And I think similar to what I mentioned earlier as well, after all this work, you keep going if you have continuous growth. So now at this point, you've been marketing, outreaching. Now every month you want to see more and more users joining, right? So maybe 20%, 10%, whatever it may be. You don't want to see them dropping, obviously, and having them consistent is okay, but that's not a good sign of you making money. So you want to see every month growing. People are loving it and actually sharing your app without you asking or doing ads. People are telling their friends, they're telling their family, they're posting on social media, hey, check this out. That's a great sign. You want to have a clear path to, and this again, random number, but you want to have when your mind of like, this is how much I expect in terms of revenue. You want to, after all this work, you should be able to see how you're going to get to your goal of, X, rupees or dollars a month. And if that's very hard, then you really need to think about, why are you not able to see that after, 3-4 months of doing all this? And then sometimes a lot of these, and put the sell business part is because a lot of these guys who build all this stuff are actually selling their companies after 3-4 months. But if somebody comes out and they want to buy it, or you have a good job offer, go for it. And then so if you have both, that's amazing. But if you have neither of these scenarios, then you really want to decide, do you want to waste more time or spend more time doing this, right? Yeah, and I think I covered basically these main ideas. And yep, I think I covered these as well. Yeah, and just like a thought exercise of just to try it out. No, don't start building something, but just do that first step, right? Find 5 apps that you or your friends use, read their bad reviews, pick one problem from one of the apps that can be improved. There's the great part with these AI coding tools, you can find landing page or waitlist templates online. You can use apps like Lovable or V0 or Bolt and quickly just create a landing page in literally like 5 minutes. And then update that with your problem and solution that you described, add a waitlist, and then just post a little bit and just like it's like a trial run of doing this whole process, right? So actually try it out. You have the tools, you have like the solution, the frameworks, the steps. The more you try it out, the more you'll start to see things, right? And realize things. Well, yep. And so I know we're over time, so I'll just go into if there's any questions. Yeah. Let's see. Awesome. I don't see any hands raised, so yeah, let me know. Otherwise, oh,
Ji,
cool.
sir.
I see one hand, Amira. Amira, do you have a question? Or-
First of all, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Hi, Walaikum Assalam.
Actually, I am student of BSc first semester. I'm currently pursuing BSS CS first semester, so I am also learning web development, front-end development in my first semester. I'm going to complete a front-end development in within 2 months, next 2 months. So should I move to this or continue focusing on my studies?
Sorry, you repeat the question one more time?
Okay. I'm currently pursuing BScs first semester, and I'm also learning web development, front-end development. I'm going to complete in next 2 months my front-end development, and also I just want to ask this: should I move to this or continue my studies or focusing on my studies? It
All
will be
right.
better for me, or also
Well,
focusing on the skills.
got it. And when you say move to this, what do you mean? Like move to trying to create a company or move to something else? Sorry.
I'll move to something else. Like I am also a WordPress designer. I make the sites for the clients, and but my study schedule is disturbing. So I also want to learn this AI.
Got it. I mean, maybe something maybe from someone from iCloud Guru could probably answer better, but and you mentioned your studies are in computer science?
I'm currently pursuing first semester now.
Got it. Okay. I mean, as a student, doing a degree is
Okay.
always very beneficial, right? It really helps, and you get a lot of skills, and also you have the degree. But then, as best things like you're at the time and age where like you just put in a lot of time, and in your free time, like outside of your homework, like if you do these other aspects, you can. I mean, there's a lot of people doing both, right? Like there's a lot of people doing school and also, you know, building products or doing side work or whatever it may be. And my recommendation, if you can, is to really, you manage your kind of time and be able to, tackle both. Because
Some
at the
people
end of
say
the
that
day. Mhm.
okay, continue, sir. Sorry for disturbance.
Sorry.
Some people said that the scope of the front-end development, the back-end development is over now. So is it?
So I didn't understand the question. The,
Some people said that the scope of the front-end development and back-end development, I mean full-stack
oh,
development is over now. AI will do this in future. Is
oh,
it?
okay. You're saying that the role of the full stack or front end back end development is over now?
Yeah, I listen
Got it.
from people that
Got it. I mean, it's gonna definitely change over the next few years a lot with all these new AI coding tools. Um, I would say it's going to be the people who know how to use the AI coding tools are going to be the ones who are probably getting the jobs. So it may be, over for people who are just not picking up the new technologies, but AI isn't just going to code the entire world, at least in the next like 10, 20, 30 years, right? That's a little bit down the line. You still have to have people who are telling the AI what to do. And the people who are telling the AI what to do are going to be computer science people who know what front end and back end and full stack even is and how it works. Because trust me, I've tried to code stuff with the AI tools without giving it proper requirements and structure, and it creates garbage, right? So you really need to have that good understanding, but then you really need to know how to use it to be the best coder out there using AI tools, and that will make you future proof, right? Yeah, that's what I would say.
yeah, thank you. Then at the end, you're saying that I should focus on both on my skills and on my studies if I can.
Yeah, definitely, because the people who know computer science really well are going to be the ones who can use these tools the best, right? Because yeah, I mean, just imagine if some random person who's never studied computer science that try to use these coding tools, like they may make something, but they're not going to make something as good as a computer science major using the same tools, right?
Yeah. Thanks for your precious time.
Yep. No, thank you. Any other questions?
सो अगर किसी पार्टिसिपेंट में कोई क्वेश्चन है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं.
साथ में मैं एक फिर पूछना चाहूंगा,
जी.
मतलब आप माशाल्लाह अकम्पलिश्ड हैं, यू आर, तो थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताएं, बता सकेंगे आप, आपने क्या, क्या आपने भी ऐसे कोई वेंचर लिए हैं, क्या आपने भी कोई स्टार्टअप्स, कोई एप्स क्रिएट करने के बारे में कुछ सोचा है, कोई कोशिश की है? इसके बारे में भी अगर आप थोड़ा सा बता सकें स्टूडेंट्स को, सो
हाँ जी,
कुछ
हाँ
अपने
जी.
बारे में.
No, definitely. So I've been just in the tech space in San Francisco area for 10, 11 years. Um, yeah, I've been really mainly working with our customers on creating solutions using our products. And so last 3 years or 2, 3 years, I've been mainly working at AI companies like small startups and been really getting to see like how people are really creating brand new products out of or solutions out of mainly areas like in this presentation where it older version existed not using AI and people are just using AI to make it better and they're creating big companies out of it. And so it started to really make my mind start turning on maybe I could try to create something also. So for me, I did not do computer science. I think so much I did electrical engineering, which was like a little bit of coding but not much. And then since then I'd mainly uh, been working on the customer side, and like a customer advisor and things like that. Um, so for me, like I'm learning a lot of this stuff over the last 2 years, just brand new and kind of teaching myself, and using AI to teach myself and build stuff. And so yeah, over the last 6, 12 months, I've been, doing basically this process, and that's kind of how I've learned through trying and trial and error, and then also research and understanding how people did it. Because obviously, the first couple of things I tried, they were obviously, like I said, not as valuable as I thought they were, and so I learned how to test things before wasting too much time. And so currently, I'm working on 1, 2 things, and so. Trying to build that as I, do my normal job as well at the same time. Um, but yeah, so I have a good understanding of kind of how customers see value and how they, willing to pay for things. That's my main job is around that, is making sure that they see enough value in our product that it is worth them paying money, and making sure that they pay money every year, making sure that we give more and more value every year so that they pay more and more every year. So my whole mind set is around creating enough value for customers to be willing to invest money or pay money for our products, because that's what I realized without that no one will pay for something unless you give them more than they are paying, right? Like you want to give them more time, money saved than the money they're giving you, right? And that's really the only way you're ever going to get people to pay you, right? If you give them more than what they give you, and that could be money, time, enjoyment, whatever it is. So yeah, just a little background on that.
Okay, thank you, thanks, great to know, Sadkan, thank you.
Yeah.
सर एक क्वेश्चन है, मैम मानिए आप अपना क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं.
थैंक यू सो मच सर. मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि अक्सर ऐसा होता है कि हमारे पास एक अच्छा सॉल्यूशन भी होता है और आप उसकी एक अट्रैक्टिव सी एप्लीकेशन भी डेवलप कर लेते हैं, लेकिन आप लोगों को परसुएड नहीं कर पाते अपने प्रोडक्ट को बाय करने के लिए, और ये काफ़ी ज़्यादा मुश्किल टास्क होता है कि इवन दो कि आपके पास यूजर्स ज़्यादा हैं लेकिन बायर्स काफ़ी कम होते हैं. सो हाउ कैन वी टैकल दैट?
Got it. And when you say users होते हैं but buyers come with it, so you have like a free version that people that you have users that they're using it.
यस सर. कुछ वर्जन्स
Uh,
होते हैं जो आप प्रीमियम में रखते हैं और कुछ वर्जन्स हम
mhm.
फ्री में भी रखते हैं. सो प्रीमियम के हमारे पास बायर नहीं होते जो हमारा मेन सोर्स होता है इनकम का.
Got it. Makes sense. And then आप कह रहे हो लेकिन आपके पास good amount of free users होते हैं. I mean, what I would say is that means your product is providing enough value for people to use it. You may have maybe split your free versus premium features, not best or like incorrectly. Because if there is features that you have in your free version that keep a lot of users from even going to another free product or going to another, solution, then you may want to do some testing to figure out which features are those, and then maybe it's hard to take a free feature and make it paid because customer users get mad, but figuring out what value is that bringing them, then figuring out what maybe premium feature you should make that doubles or triples that value, right? And then making that a premium. Because then it means that your users are finding value in something. Um, you should really maybe identify what that is and then kind of build on top of that to create premium features that make that value more, because that's the reason they're, your users in the first place. Yeah, I guess that's what I would really say. But yeah, it's figuring out why people have, seeing value and then putting that into your premium features. And then for starting a new company, that's something that's actually very important at the start of what should be premium and what should be free. Because if you make something that is, should be premium free, it's very hard to make it premium later without, making a lot of people mad. Yeah.
सर आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल मेरे पास चैट जीपीटी की भी एग्जाम्पल है। चैट जीपीटी हमें GPT-4 का वर्जन कुछ देर के लिए इस्तेमाल करने की इजाज़त देती है, लेकिन मैं ज़्यादा प्रेफर करती हूँ कि मैं जो भी उसका टाइम है उस वेट कर दूँ, बजाय इसके कि मैं उनका अपग्रेडेड वर्जन बाय कर लूँ या फिर मैं अकाउंट चेंज कर लूँ। सो इन दिस सिनेरियो हम क्या कर सकते हैं कि ज़्यादातर लोग अग्री नहीं करते बाय करने के लिए।
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, it's also like the premium feature, it shouldn't be something that can be replaced by the free feature, right? In your GPT example, like makes sense because also GPT wants a lot of free users so that they have one, a lot of users, two, they can collect a lot of data to train more models. So they want free users. That's why they do that. But for other products that aren't in the same kind of space of them wanting free users, you want to have maybe things that build on top of it. But for example, you may have a product that makes filling out forms, or maybe filling out your taxes, or filling out in the doctor example, like it's easier to do paperwork. So that's like the free feature, right? You can do your paperwork a little bit easier, but then the premium feature is that AI does it for you, right? So you see the difference, right? So both make filling out forms and AI doing it for you, both of them make your job easier. But you know, if people are willing to use your product for free to just fill out forms, then they would also want to do zero work and have AI do it, which maybe they would pay for, right? So it has to kind of build on top of it, while not providing that exact feature for free people. I don't know if that, hopefully that made sense. Yeah.
यस सर, थैंक यू सो मच। आपकी बात से मुझे न्यू थोड़ी सी रीड मिली है कि हम स्पेसिफिक टू द पीपल कर सकते हैं, तो इस तरह से फिर पीपल अग्री कर सकते हैं कोई भी प्रोडक्ट बाय करने के लिए। थैंक यू सो मच सर। लाइक हम
Yeah.
स्पेसिफिक टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कोई चीज़ क्रिएट कर सकते हैं।
Yeah, organization, or figuring out if what features the value मिल रहा है, and then creating a you know even better feature that is not the same, but it is like the next step, like I mentioned. Um,
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
yeah.
ऑलराइट, सो अगर किसी का और कोई मजीद क्वेश्चन है तो आप लोग पूछ सकते हैं। अदरवाइज फिर हम वेबिनार के यहाँ पे कंक्लूड करते हैं। सो थैंक यू सो मच सर साद। सर आपके टाइम का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। दूसरा ये कि सर आपने ये बड़े अच्छे तरीके से बताया स्टेप बाय स्टेप कि हाउ कैन वी इंटीग्रेट AI इन ट्रेडिशनल एप्स। और सर क्यूरीज को इतनी डेप्थ में तरीके से बताना और समझाना। तो सर थैंक यू सो मच वंस अगेन फॉर योर टाइम। सो अगर किसी का कोई लास्ट क्वेश्चन है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं, वरना फिर हम वेबिनार को यहाँ पे कंक्लूड करते हैं।
And then मैं slide deck जो है I'll send कर सकता हूँ in case अपने
श्योर
students
सर।
का
जी सर। ऑलराइट, सो थैंक्स सर।
जी जी,
अल्लाह
थैंक यू
हाफिज।
साद, थैंक यू साद खान, दैट वाज ग्रेट,
नहीं
इट वाज अ ग्रेट
no
वेबिनार, बहुत शुक्रिया यार, थैंक यू।
no thank you yeah no thank you everyone
अल्लाह हाफिज एवरीवन,
Najee
सी यू
खुदा
नेक्स्ट
हाफिज
सैटरडे। अल्लाह हाफिज।
yes अस्सलाम वालेकुम।